You're in a Higgins boat, pitching violently in the pre-dawn darkness of the English Channel. It's June 6, 1944, 6:15 a.m. Around you, 31 other men from the 1st Infantry Division are packed shoulder to shoulder. The Big Red One, America's most experienced infantry division. You've already fought in North Africa and Sicily. You're veterans, but nothing could have prepared you for this. The boat slams into another wave. Ice-cold seawater crashes over the ramp, drenching everyone. Men vomit from seasickness. The smell of diesel fuel, salt water, and fear fills the confined space. Your rifle, an M1 Garand, is wrapped in plastic to keep it dry. Your pack weighs over 60 pounds. Extra ammunition, rations, grenades, an inflatable life belt around your waist that's supposed to save you if you go into the water. But you're carrying so much weight, you wonder if that belt will make any difference. Through the gray morning mist, you can see the coastline of Normandy. From here, it looks peaceful. Green bluffs rising above a sandy beach, almost like a postcard. Then, the German artillery finds your landing craft. A massive fountain of water erupts 20 yards to your left. Another boat, identical to yours, takes a direct hit. It simply disappears. 32 men, gone in an instant. The coxswain at the back of your boat is screaming something, but you can't hear him over the roar of engines and explosions.
Get ready, beat down! I said go! Go!
The ramp is about to drop. In 30 seconds, you'll be wading through chest-deep water toward a beach that intelligence promised would be lightly defended. Intelligence was wrong. What goes through your mind in these final seconds? Do you think of home? Of your family? Do you pray? Or does your mind go blank, focusing only on the simple act of survival? The ramp drops with a metallic clang, and the killing begins. Rewind. Let's go back to understand how you got here. Your name is Ernest Hilberg. You grew up in rural America during the Great Depression. Life wasn't easy, but it taught you resilience, how to work hard, how to keep going when things got tough. Those lessons will matter more than you could ever imagine. You enlisted in the Army in 1942, not because of patriotic speeches or recruiting posters, but because it seemed like the right thing to do. Hitler was conquering Europe. Japan had attacked Pearl Harbor. Your country needed you. Basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia, transformed you from a civilian into a soldier.
Company prison arms!
Yes, sir!
Ready, aim! Aim, sir!
Fire, sir!
17 weeks of marching, shooting, drilling, learning to break down and reassemble your M1 rifle blindfolded, bayonet training, hand-to-hand combat, map reading, first aid. But more than the technical skills, the Army taught you about brotherhood. The men in your unit, your squad, your platoon, your company become closer than family. You eat together, sleep together, train together. You learn to trust them with your life because soon, very soon, you'll have to. In November 1942, you ship out for North Africa as part of Operation Torch. Your first taste of combat comes in Tunisia, fighting against German and Italian forces in the desert. The heat is unbearable. Water is scarce. The enemy is skilled and determined. You learn what it means to be shot at, to see men you've lived with for months suddenly cut down by machine gun fire or artillery. You learn to dig foxholes fast, to keep your head down, to move quickly from cover to cover. You earn your Combat Infantryman's Badge. It's a small piece of silver metal, but it means everything. It says, I've been there. I've done it. I've survived. After North Africa comes Sicily. More combat, more losses. The 1st Infantry Division gains a reputation as one of the toughest, most reliable units in the European theater. But the cost is high. By the time you return to England in late 1943 for rest and refitting, your division has lost thousands of men. Replacements arrive, fresh-faced kids who haven't seen combat yet. You can spot them immediately, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, the questions they ask. You were like them once. That feels like a lifetime ago. In England, the rumors start immediately. Something big is coming. The invasion of France. The opening of the second front that Stalin keeps demanding. The beginning of the end for Hitler. Training intensifies. You practice beach landings on the English coast, assault tactics, street fighting. Your officers study maps and aerial photographs of the French coastline, but they don't tell you where you're going. Not yet. In late May 1944, you're moved to a marshalling area near the port of Weymouth. Razor wire surrounds the camp. No one in or out. This is it. The invasion is imminent. Finally, on June 4th, you're briefed on the mission. Your target, Omaha Beach, France. Officers pull back curtains to reveal detailed sand models of the beach and the bluffs beyond. They explain the plan with quiet confidence. Intelligence indicates light resistance, mostly second-rate troops, many of them conscripts from conquered territories. They won't put up much of a fight. Naval bombardment will destroy most of the German fortifications before you land. B-24 bombers will carpet bomb the beach defenses at first light. Engineers will clear obstacles and minefields within minutes of landing. By noon, you'll be pushing inland. By nightfall, you'll have secured the high ground. It all sounds very simple, very clean, but you've been in combat before, and you know that no plan survives first contact with the enemy. Still, orders are orders, and the 1st Infantry Division has never failed a mission. On June 5th, you board transport ships at Weymouth. The invasion is scheduled for dawn, June 6th. That night, as the massive invasion fleet sails across the English Channel, you try to sleep, but it's impossible. The ship rocks in heavy seas. Men around you check and recheck their equipment, write letters home, pray. Some veterans, men who've been through North Africa and Sicily with you, have a strange look in their eyes, a premonition. Not everyone on this ship will see England again.
The ramp drops. Machine gun fire immediately rakes the front of the boat. The first man off, the ones in front, don't make it 3 steps. They fall into the water, which turns red around them. "Move! Move! Move!" someone screams. There's nowhere to go but forward. You plunge off the ramp into water that's deeper than expected, much deeper. Instead of ankle-deep water the intelligence promised, you're chest-deep. The weight of your equipment pulls you down. You struggle to keep your rifle above water. Men around you are going under, drowning under the weight of their packs. The water churns with bullets. Tiny geysers erupt all around you. The sound is indescribable, a constant ripping, tearing noise of machine gun fire mixed with the boom of artillery and the screams of wounded men. You're wading toward the beach, but it feels like moving through molasses. Every step is an effort against the current, against the weight, against the terror that wants to freeze you in place. 30 yards to the beach, 20 yards, 10. You finally reach the sand and throw yourself down behind a metal obstacle, a Belgian gate designed to stop landing craft. That's when you realize the full scope of the disaster. The beach is a killing field. Bodies float in the surf. Wounded men cry for medics. Equipment litters the sand. Rifles, packs, helmets. A tank burns nearby, sending thick black smoke into the gray morning sky. And worst of all, there's no crater line. The naval bombardment was supposed to create huge craters in the sand that you could use for cover. The bombing run was supposed to destroy the German positions. But the sand is almost untouched. The German bunkers on the bluffs above are intact, and they have perfect fields of fire covering every inch of beach. You realize with sick certainty, the bombs missed. The naval shells fell inland behind the German positions. The defenses are fully operational, and you're trapped in the open. Machine gun fire comes from at least 6 different positions on the bluffs. German MG-42 machine guns, the fastest machine guns in the world. They fire so rapidly, 1,200 rounds per minute, that they sound like a zipper being pulled. Hitler's buzzsaw. You call them death. Artillery shells, 88mm guns from the bluffs, land among the landing craft still trying to approach the beach. Direct hits turn boats into kindling and men into casualties. Behind your obstacle, you take stock. Your squad landed with 12 men. You can see 4 others. The rest, you don't know. Your sergeant is dead. You saw him go down in the water. The lieutenant who briefed you yesterday about light resistance is screaming into a radio that doesn't work. Salt water has destroyed most of the communications equipment. Orders aren't coming because officers don't know what's happening. The plan has completely fallen apart. Men all along the beach are paralyzed with fear or pinned down by fire. Some are wounded and calling for medics who can't reach them. Others are simply trying to make themselves as small as possible behind whatever cover they can find. This is supposed to be the easy beach. To your east, at a place called Pointe du Hoc, Army Rangers are scaling cliffs under fire. To your west, at Utah Beach, the landing went better. Troops landed in the wrong place but faced lighter resistance. But here, at Omaha, the invasion is failing. If the Germans counterattack now, if they bring up reserves and push you back into the sea, the entire D-Day operation could collapse. Everything depends on what happens in the next few hours. You look at the cliff face 200 yards away. Between you and the base of those cliffs, open sand. No cover, perfect killing ground. But staying here means death just as surely. The tide is coming in. Soon the water will reach your position. You'll have to move anyway. From somewhere down the beach, you hear a voice, an officer or an NCO, you can't tell. If we stay here, we're dead. We gotta move. He's right. What happens next will define not just this battle, but the entire war. Do you stay frozen behind your obstacle, hoping to survive until reinforcements arrive? Or do you get up and run toward the enemy guns? It's the hardest decision of your life, but you already know the answer, because you're a soldier, and soldiers don't quit. You take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. You sprint. Your legs pump through the sand. Each step feels like running through mud. The weight on your back threatens to pull you down. Machine gun fire tracks toward you. Bullets kick up sand inches from your feet. You dive behind a wooden obstacle.
100 yards gained. Only 180 more to go.
Breathing hard, heart hammering against your ribs. 20 yards gained. Only 180 more to go. Around you, other men are making the same calculation, the same desperate run. Some make it to the next piece of cover. Others don't. A private from another company, you don't know his name, gets hit mid-stride. He spins and falls face first into the sand. He doesn't move. You can't think about that. Can't think about anything except the next 20 yards. You look for your next point of cover. There, a destroyed landing craft, half buried in the sand, burning. Another sprint. This time, a mortar round lands behind you. The concussion knocks you forward. You taste blood. Your ears ring. But you're not hit, just stunned. Keep moving. You reach the burning craft and collapse behind it. The heat from the flames is intense, but it's cover. That's when you see him. A young soldier, couldn't be more than 19, trapped in the open. His leg is shattered. He's crawling toward cover, leaving a trail of blood in the sand. He's not going to make it, not alone. Every instinct screams at you to stay put, to save yourself. One man isn't worth 2 lives, but you can't watch him die. You leave your cover, and run to him, grab him under the arms, start dragging him back. He's screaming, whether from pain or fear you don't know. Machine gun fire stitches the sand around you. You feel a round tug at your pack, but don't stop to check if you're hit. 10 feet, 5 feet. You throw him behind the burning craft and collapse beside him. "Medic!" you shout, but there are hundreds of men shouting the same thing. The medics are overwhelmed, tending to the wounded while under fire themselves. The kid looks at you with wide eyes. "Thank you," he gasps. "Thank you." You don't have time to respond, because something's changing on the beach. Small groups of men, veterans mostly, men who've seen combat before, are starting to organize. A sergeant here, a lieutenant there, sometimes just a private who decides someone needs to lead. About 50 yards to your right, you see a colonel. Later you'll learn his name was George Taylor. He's standing upright on the beach, standing while machine guns fire all around him, and he's shouting, "Now 2 kinds of people are staying on this beach, the dead and those who are going to die. Now let's get the hell out of here."
2 kinds of people are staying on this beach, the dead and those who are going to die. Now let's get the hell out of here.
It's not eloquent, it's not inspiring in the traditional sense, but it's exactly what's needed. Men start moving, not in organized waves like the plan called for, but in small groups, individuals and fire teams making desperate rushes toward the bluff. Engineers are blowing gaps in the barbed wire at the base of the cliff with Bangalore torpedoes, long tubes packed with explosives. Each explosion clears a path, but also draws immediate German fire. You see your chance. A gap in the wire, about 30 yards to your left. Several men are already heading for it. You check your rifle, still wrapped in plastic. You rip it off, work the action. It's wet, but functional. Time to move. This sprint is longer. 40 yards of open beach. You run in a crouch, zigzagging like they taught you in training. It feels absurd, like those techniques could possibly matter when hundreds of bullets are filling the air. But you make it. You crash through the gap in the wire and find yourself at the base of the bluff. The cliff face rises above you at a steep angle. It's not quite vertical, but close, covered with scrub brush and loose dirt. Under normal circumstances, it would be a difficult climb. These are not normal circumstances. You're exhausted, soaking wet, carrying 60 pounds of equipment, and German soldiers are firing down from you at positions at the top. But the cliff also provides something the beach didn't: dead ground. The German machine guns are positioned to fire across the beach. At the base of the cliff, you're in a narrow zone where their guns can't depress low enough to hit you. It's not safe. Mortars and grenades still fall from above, but it's safer than the beach. More men arrive, some from your unit, others from companies you don't recognize. In the chaos of the landing, units have been completely mixed up. A captain you've never seen before takes charge. "We need to get up this cliff. Small groups. Use the draws, the gullies for cover. Move." He points to a narrow ravine cutting up the bluff face. You join a group of about 10 men heading for it. The ravine offers concealment, but it's also an obvious route. The Germans know men will use it. Sure enough, as your group enters the draw, a stick grenade, the distinctive German potato masher, comes tumbling down from above. "Grenade!" someone yells. You press yourself against the cliff wall. The explosion is deafening in the confined space. Shrapnel winds off the rocks. One man goes down, clutching his shoulder, but the rest keep climbing. The ascent is brutal. You grab at roots, rocks, anything for handholds. The dirt is loose and gives way. Several times you slide backward, losing hard-won ground. Your lungs burn. Your legs feel like lead. The pack on your back might as well weigh 1,000 pounds. But you keep climbing, because above you, you can see the German position, a concrete bunker with a machine gun firing out toward the beach. That gun has killed dozens, maybe hundreds of Americans this morning. Someone needs to silence it. Halfway up the ravine, rifle fire cracks overhead.
German infantry have appeared at the top, firing down at you. The man in front of you, a corporal with 3 stripes, takes a round in the chest. He tumbles backward, nearly taking you with him. You press yourself against the cliff wall, making yourself as small as possible. This is it. Pinned on the cliff face, can't go up, can't go back down. Then you hear the most beautiful sound in the world. The bark of a Browning automatic rifle, a bar. Someone in your group has a bar, and he's firing up at the German position. 20 rounds of .30 caliber ammunition in rapid succession. The German fire slackens. "Move! Move now!" the captain shouts. You surge upward, 10 feet, 20 feet. Your hand grasps the top of the cliff. You pull yourself up and over, rolling immediately to the side. You've made it off the beach. But the battle is far from over. The top of the bluff is a landscape of trenches, bunkers, and fighting positions. The Germans have had 4 years to prepare these defenses. Every approach is covered by interlocking fields of fire. Every position is connected by communication trenches. It's a fortress. But it's a fortress designed to repel an attack from the sea. The Germans never expected anyone to actually make it up the cliffs. You're behind their main defensive line. The group that made it up the ravine, now down to about 7 men, takes cover in a shell crater. The captain who led you up is assessing the situation. "That bunker," he points. "The machine gun nest that's been firing down at the beach. We need to take it out." It's about 50 yards away. A concrete structure with a steel door on the back and a narrow firing slit facing the beach. The problem? Between you and the bunker is open ground, and there are German infantry in the trenches who will see you coming. "We need a base of fire," the captain says. 3 men with rifles, suppressing fire, the rest of us assault. You volunteer for the assault team. You didn't come this far to hang back now. The plan is simple, because there's no time for complicated. On the captain's signal, the rifle team opens fire on the German trenches, not aiming to kill necessarily, just forcing the Germans to keep their heads down. Your assault team sprints toward the bunker. You're running again. How many times have you run today? Your legs are rubber, but they keep pumping. German fire erupts from the trenches, but the suppressing fire is working. It's not accurate, just wild shots. You reach the bunker and press against the back wall, out of the line of fire. The steel door is closed, locked from the inside. One of your team, a sergeant with a face blackened by smoke, pulls a satchel charge from his pack. 20 pounds of TNT with a fuse. He places it against the door, lights the fuse. "Fire in the hole." You run back toward cover. The explosion is massive. The steel door blows inward. Immediately, you rush the entrance. Training takes over. You've practiced building clearing hundreds of times. You enter fast, rifle up. The interior is filled with smoke and dust. 3 German soldiers are inside. 1 is dead from the explosion. The other 2 are stunned, disoriented. They reach for their weapons. You fire. The M1 bucks against your shoulder. Once, twice, 3 times. Both Germans go down. For a moment, everything is silent except for your own ragged breathing and the ringing in your ears. You've just killed 2 men at point-blank range. There's no time to process it. The captain appears at the entrance. "Clear?" "Clear," you respond automatically. "Good. Get that MG92 turned around. We're using it." The German machine gun is still functional. You and another soldier manhandle it, turning it to face inland instead of toward the beach. From this position, you can now see the battlefield from the German perspective. The beach below is still chaos. Landing craft are still coming in, though many are burning or disabled. Bodies dot the sand. The water's edge is littered with equipment. But more Americans are making it up the bluffs now. Small groups, using the routes that early arrivals have cleared. The tide is turning, literally and figuratively. Your small team's success starts a chain reaction. As each German position is knocked out, it becomes easier for more Americans to advance. Fire teams leapfrog from position to position. Bangalore torpedoes blow gaps in minefields. Engineers mark safe paths with white tape. The German defenders are tough and determined.
They fight for every bunker, every trench, but they're being overwhelmed by sheer numbers. For every German soldier, there are 10 Americans. For every German bullet, there are 100 American ones. By mid-morning, the German defensive line is fracturing. Some defenders surrender, hands raised, calling out, "Kamerad." Others fight to the death. A few retreat inland, trying to regroup. You're part of a platoon now, assembled from fragments of different companies. Nobody knows who's in charge of what. It doesn't matter. You're moving forward. The objective? Push inland about a mile and secure the villages of Calaville-sur-Mer and Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer. If you can secure those villages, you'll create enough space for reinforcements to land safely. Engineers can build roads, artillery can be brought up, supplies can flow. The invasion can succeed. But first, you have to get there. You move through hedgerows and farm fields. The terrain is a maze of high earthen berms topped with dense vegetation, perfect for defense, nightmare for attack. Sniper fire cracks overhead periodically. You learn to move in short rushes, never in straight lines, never expose yourself for more than a few seconds. A German mortar team has your route zeroed. Shells land among your group. You dive into a ditch. The man next to you doesn't make it. Shrapnel catches him in the throat. He gurgles and goes still. You've stopped counting the dead, stopped learning names. It hurts too much. By early afternoon, your depleted platoon reaches the outskirts of Calaville-sur-Mer. The village is small, maybe 24 stone buildings clustered around a church. Under normal circumstances, it would be picturesque. Today, it's a battlefield. German soldiers have turned the church into a strongpoint. They're firing from the bell tower and from windows. This isn't your first urban fight. You've done this in North Africa, in Sicily. But it never gets easier. Your group splits up. Half will provide covering fire. The other half, including you, will clear buildings room by room. You approach the first house, kick in the door, enter fast. Empty, but recent signs of occupation. Spent shell casings, a half-eaten meal on the table. You move to the next building, then the next. By late afternoon, Calaville is secure. The German defenders have pulled back or been eliminated. You collapse against a wall, finally allowing yourself to rest. That's when it hits you. You're alive. Against all odds, despite everything, you made it through D-Day. Thousands didn't. The beach below is still being cleared of bodies. Field hospitals are overwhelmed with wounded. But you survived. June 7th, 1944. D-Day +1. You wake in a barn in Calaville-sur-Mer. Your first real sleep in 36 hours. Everything hurts. Your feet are blistered. Your shoulders are raw from the pack straps. Your hands are cut and bleeding from climbing the cliff. But you're alive. Outside, the invasion is consolidating. More troops are pouring across Omaha Beach, which has been transformed from a killing ground into a logistics hub. Engineers have bulldozed roads through the bluffs. Supply depots are being established. The cost is becoming clear. Omaha Beach suffered approximately 2,400 casualties, killed, wounded, or missing. Some companies were virtually annihilated. Some landing craft lost every single man. The 1st Infantry Division alone took over 1,000 casualties. You think about the young soldier you pulled from the beach. Did he survive? You'll never know. You think about your sergeant who died in the water, about the corporal who fell on the cliff, about the man who died next to you in the ditch. You think about the 2 German soldiers you killed in the bunker. They were just following orders, same as you. They had families, homes, lives before the war. War doesn't allow for these thoughts during the battle, but after, in the quiet moments, they come whether you want them or not. An officer appears at the barn entrance. "Hilberg?" "Yes, sir." "You're being reassigned. We're rebuilding the company. New men coming in. You'll help train them." New men. Replacements. Kids who haven't seen what you've seen.
How do you prepare someone for Omaha Beach? What words can possibly convey what that experience was like? You'll do your best, because that's all you can do. The war won't end today, or tomorrow, or next month. The fight from Normandy to Germany will take 11 more months, countless more battles, more friends lost, more close calls. But June 6th, 1944, that day will stay with you forever. It's the day you looked death in the face and kept moving forward. The day ordinary men did extraordinary things. The day the Atlantic Wall, Hitler's fortress Europe, was breached by courage and sacrifice. Fast forward. May 8th, 1945. VE Day, victory in Europe. You're in Germany when the news comes. The war is over. Hitler is dead. The Nazi regime has collapsed. You've survived 308 days of combat, from North Africa to Sicily to Normandy to Germany. You've earned a Silver Star for gallantry on Omaha Beach, a Bronze Star, a Purple Heart from a wound you took in the Hurtgen Forest. But the decorations don't mean much compared to the fact that you're going home. You returned to the United States in late 1945, a hero's welcome, parades, handshakes, people thanking you for your service. But you don't feel like a hero. Heroes are the men who didn't come back, the sergeant who died in the water, the private who fell on the cliff, the thousands who gave everything on that beach. You're just lucky. The transition to civilian life is harder than you expected. Crowds make you nervous. Loud noises make you flinch. You scan rooftops automatically, looking for snipers that aren't there. At night, you dream of the beach, the sound of machine gun fire, the screams of wounded men, the taste of salt water and fear. The doctors call it battle fatigue or shell shock. Later generations will call it PTSD. Whatever the name, it's real, and it's part of you now. But life goes on. You use the GI Bill to go to college, get a degree, find work, meet someone, start a family. You don't talk much about the war, not because it's classified or because you're hiding anything, but because no words seem adequate. How do you explain what it was like to wade through water filled with bodies, to climb a cliff while bullets snapped past your head, to kill another human being face to face? You can't, really. So mostly, you don't try. Decades pass. You grow old, retire, watch your children have children. The world moves on. D-Day becomes history, something in textbooks, something kids learn about in school. But for you, it never becomes history. It remains present, a part of who you are. On June 6th each year, you remember, sometimes privately, sometimes at memorials with other veterans. The numbers dwindle. Each year, fewer men who were there, fewer who remember firsthand. Eventually, there's a last reunion, a last ceremony, a last handshake with a fellow survivor. And then, you're gone. But your story remains. Because what happened on Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944, wasn't just a military operation. It was a test of the human spirit. A test of ordinary men asked to do impossible things. Some failed that test, and who could blame them? No one knows how they'll react to combat until they're in it. But enough men passed. Enough men got off that beach, climbed those cliffs, silenced those guns. Enough men like you, Ernest Hilberg, kept moving forward when every instinct screamed to stop. And because of that, the invasion succeeded.
the liberation of Europe began, and ultimately, Nazi tyranny was destroyed. Your generation saved the world, not with superpowers or special abilities, but with courage, determination, and a willingness to sacrifice everything for something greater than yourselves. That's worth remembering. Not just on anniversaries, not just at memorials, but always. Because freedom isn't free. It was bought and paid for on beaches like Omaha. By men like Ernest Hilberg. By men like you. Ernest Hilberg's story is one of millions. Millions of young men who left everything behind to fight for freedom. Millions who witnessed horrors we can barely imagine. Millions whose voices deserve to be heard before they're lost forever. This is why Combat Memory Project exists. To preserve these memories, to honor these sacrifices, to ensure the greatest generation is never forgotten. Subscribe to Combat Memory Project so you never miss a story. Because every veteran's memory matters. Every battle deserves to be remembered. Every sacrifice must be honored. Next time, Alone Across the Rhine, the story of Maurice Myers and the 3rd Infantry Division's desperate crossing into the heart of Nazi Germany. Turn on notifications, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and help us preserve the voices of those who served.